Arcane Studios previously worked on BioShock 2, contributing art, animation, and design to the project, and to say that this rubbed off on them might be a bit of an understatement, which isn't to say that Dishonored feels derivative or unoriginal. Working with Harvey Smith of Deus Ex fame, they've borrowed the supernatural element from BioShock and dropped it in the middle of their own unique retro-futuristic fantasy setting with admirable results. Players take control of Corvo Attano, Lord Protector of the Empress Jessamine, as he returns to the capital city of Dunwall from a desperate mission to find the cure for a plague that is beginning to spread throughout the game's vast but mostly unseen empire. Corvo barely has time to relay his findings to the Empress before she is killed and her daughter abducted by masked assassins with mad teleportation skills. Arriving upon the scene, the Empire spy master immediately accuses you of the act without so much as a "what's all this, son, eh?", which conveniently makes the scapegoat of you and leaves no one to question him as he installs himself as the Empire's Lord Regent. The game flashes forward 6 months to find the Empire ravaged by the plague and Corvo in jail awaiting his execution. He finds a note and a key along with his food, with instructions on how to escape the prison, and so begins your quest as a morally ambiguous Count of Monte Cristo. You escape the prison, using stealth if you like, or by murdering everyone who would stop you, in a display of ultra-violence that would give Alexander DeLarge a raging murder boner, or make him really sick if he's already done the Ludovico. You flee Dunwall proper through the sewers and meet a trusty boatsman who shuttles you to and fro throughout the game, and find your way to the slums where a group of loyalists enlist you in their cause of deposing the tyrannical Lord Regent, a charge which you happily take on as the guy did kind of dick you over. Since you're the most wanted man in the Empire, they provide you with a disguise in the form of a one-of-a-kind mask that looks like a Terminator's endoskeleton. That certainly won't catch the eye, but before you begin your quest for revenge, you settle in for a bit of Betty Bye, only to wake in an ethereal dreamscape where you meet the Outsider, who aside from being a world-class creep, provides you with supernatural abilities to aid in your quest. Like a lot of games, morality is a factor, as you're given the option to kill or render unconscious the leagues of patrolling guards you come across. Even the people you are instructed to kill could be disposed of in a less than lethal manner, though the ways in which you do so are often so unpleasant you can't help but feel it would have been more merciful just to kill them. The actual impact of your choices isn't really felt in the game's dialogue, as most interactions are carefully scripted to be vague regarding your methods of disposal, but it does raise the level of chaos, which strongly affects gameplay and the ending you'll receive. Leaving piles of bodies here and there isn't just unsightly, it helps bolster the rat population, which helps to spread the bubonic plague-like disease. This results in heavier patrols and a larger number of plague victims, or weepers, and also produces piranha-like swarms of plague rats, which will attack you if not distracted by a corpse. But I can't fault Arcane Studios for their one-size-fits-all dialogue too much, as recording extra lines would involve paying some well-known actors large sums of money, and it's a fault that I can live with, because the game's voice cast is absolutely spectacular. I know I paid Resident Evil 6 a fairly backhanded compliment in regards to the game's voice acting, but I can't get too excited about Troy Baker doing the exact same voice in every single game he's in. The voice cast of this game almost reads as a sort of wish list. Admiral Havelock, a wealthy man with a naval background, is played by John Slattery, who you might recognize as Mad Men's Roger Sterling, another wealthy man with a naval background. Piero, a bespectacled, socially awkward intellect, is played by Brad Dourif, who played a remarkably similar character on Deadwood. If the Outsider's creepiness seems familiar, you've probably seen Generation Kill, because his voice is none other than Billy Lush, who played the sociopathic Trombley on that show. Later in the game, you meet the head of the Assassin's Order, who killed the Empress, played by Michael Madsen, who you might recognize as the foster father from Free Willy. Additionally, you've got voice talent done by the likes of Susan Sarandon, Lena Headey, and Carrie Fisher, rounding out a remarkably impressive cast. But enough about the drama. A lot of us are playing this game to get our murder on, and Dishonored delivers such, with satisfyingly visceral melee combat and some thoroughly enjoyable magic, such as the ability to summon a swarm of plague rats. The game has drop assassinations like the Assassin's Creed games, but you have to manually land on the target, and the extra skill required makes the kill all the more rewarding. On my first playthrough, I tore through Dunwall with all the subtlety and discern of an atomic bomb, and had a hell of a lot of fun doing so, but it became drastically more difficult to do so later in the game as security began to tighten and the enemy's arsenal expanded. It only took about 12 hours to get through the game with the balls-to-the-wall stealth-free tactic, which might seem fairly short, but keep in mind, this was 12 consecutive hours of play that I enjoyed thoroughly, and the first thing I did after the credits were over was start my no-kill stealth playthrough, which takes about twice as long. Stealth can be a bit spotty at times, as I'm still not entirely sure why the guards detect me in certain instances, yet don't in other seemingly identical situations, but even if you're spotted, you can always run the hell away and hide in a trash can. Of course, if you're going for the ghost trophy, you can't be seen at all, and you'll find yourself frustrated as you reload the same save repeatedly from time to time, but it's all very much worth the white-knuckle tension that the stealth gameplay offers in Dishonored. All in all, it's a very slick and enjoyable package. The sound design is very well done, and Daniel Licht of Dexter fame provides a perfectly creepy yet subtle soundtrack, much in the same way he did for the unenviable task of scoring Silent Hill Downpour. The art design is very well done, with highly detailed environments and slightly cartoonish character design blending nicely in a way that keeps the grit but abandons the realism. And the sheer variety of ways in which the game can be played will undoubtedly have you coming back for more. The endings are fairly short and to the point, but for a game that is more driven by gameplay than story, I hardly feel this is anything worth complaining about, especially considering how much fun I've had in both of the playthroughs I've done so far. Now, if you'll pardon me, I'm going to see if I can make it through the game using nothing but sleeper holds and hand grenades.